Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More. And over the years and recently, I've shown a lot of interesting videos on rental properties gone bad, flips gone bad, issues with commercial properties. And a lot of people think real estate is just really awful because of all the bad stories we show. But we also show some good stories too. And this is one of those good stories, and it probably won't get as much attention as the bad ones. And a lot of people won't see it, and then they'll just continue to think real estate is bad. But this is a triplex I bought a few years ago. And this is what it looked like when I first bought it. It was pretty ugly. Got it from a wholesaler, I believe, for $290,000. It was rented at the time, but the tenants were paying very, very low rent, like I think $500 a month. The places were pretty rough. There was no leases again, and just managed very, very poorly. And so this is one where we went in and offered cash for keys. I just did a video on cash for keys. Ended up paying, I believe, all the tenants to move out. Even though their leases were up, we could have just said, hey, you got to go, and give them notice. But we gave them some money, had them move out, and then we were able to come through, rehab the units, make them safe to live in again, and re-rent the property. And so we've done this with quite a few properties, and it doesn't always turn out perfect. Sometimes we have issues, sometimes we have problems. But in the end, we're always able to provide some affordable, safe housing. And some people might say, well, it's not affordable. In Colorado, it's very affordable. A lot of the properties we rent way below the median rent and what median incomes are for considering what affordable housing is and the criteria and all of that. So we came through, painted everything, added the sidewalk, added coin-op laundry, which we'll show you because I don't collect that enough. And we almost had an issue on our hands with the coin-op laundry today. But this is what one of those units looked like after we were finished. And so after we're done, we rent them for $1,300, $1,300, and $1,100 per month. And so total, we've got $3,700 a month coming in from the rental properties, and then maybe another $100 a month from the laundry as well. And so we also refinanced this property recently. So this is one I bought a few multifamily properties like this with the idea of either selling them or keeping them. And we had it for sale for a while. Then we had some issues with a tenant. We'll talk about that. And didn't end up selling it, but we did end up refinancing it and took quite a bit of money out of the property, which I'm then able to put into new properties and fix up them and just kind of continue that over and over again. At least that is the plan. Now this is what the apartment looked like when I first bought it. And it was a little bit different. And this is after the tenants had moved out, after we did cash for keys. And as you can see, it wasn't quite as nice. Now this property also used to be a commercial property long time ago. Why it's probably got the flat roof, why it's kind of shaped the way it is, looks the way it is. It doesn't look like your normal residential property. I can't remember which video I did it in, but in one of the videos I took down some of the ceiling tiles, was looking at the attic and could see it used to have kind of one of those angled storefronts long ago. Definitely a commercial property. And, you know, if you were to look at values today, if this was a commercial property, especially in this area, it's kind of a small town versus residential, it's worth way more money as residential. Higher demand for housing. Rents would probably be higher for residential, and values would be higher as well. Now, when I got the appraisals done on this property, or on my properties, a lot of them came in very low. I was able to challenge them, got them raised up a lot, so that was nice to see. I have a video on that. I will try to link to that. In fact, I'm going to make a note on my little piece of paper right here to make a link on that, because sometimes I forget. Here's the coin-op laundry, what it looked like now versus what it looked like when I first bought the property. They didn't have coin-op. They just had some washers and dryers in here that I doubt really worked. So we tried to make that look a little better. And this one also had a crazy, creepy basement as well. Haven't been down there in a while. I'm not even sure what that looks like. But maybe I'll try and link to that video of what this whole property looked like when I first bought it. And hopefully try to find the one that has the crazy basement in it too. Now here's what another one of those units looks like after we remodeled it, fixed it up. And yes, we do try and use kind of the same flooring and paint in a lot of these, just because if we have to come through and redo flooring it's easy. We've got it already. In fact, I think it's the same flooring we used in the complex. And you can see we just did white paint and white trim, which saves us money, but we try to paint the doors a different color. Sometimes we'll paint the trim a different color too, but if we're using the same paint and materials throughout everything, then it makes it way easy to fix it up, make some repairs if we need to, touch up stuff, because we know exactly what we've got. When we did finally get the appraisal raised up, I think it came in around 510,000, something like that. We spent probably 80,000 on repairs. We didn't have to do roof or major stuff, which was nice. It was mostly kitchens, baths, floorings, paint, some windows. But there's 3 units. It adds up, and stuff just keeps getting more and more expensive. So I refinanced it, had a new loan, was able to take out pretty much all the money I spent on this property, and it doesn't have a large amount of cash flow, that's for sure, especially with higher interest rates right now. But one of the cool things about the loans I got, which was with a local bank, First Tier Bank here in Greeley, Colorado, highly recommended, my interest rate goes down if prime goes down. So since I got this refinance last year, my interest rate has actually decreased some, which means my payments are lower now than when I first got the loan. It's hard to find a bank that will do that, and my payments could go back up if rates go up again, but they're capped at a certain amount, and it's pretty close to what my original loan value was. And here's what this unit looked like when I first got it. It was not very nice and definitely had some issues. There was, discoloration. The ceiling was falling down. Cabinets were rough. These were rough properties. So since we've bought it, we've had some issues. Like I said, nothing too major. Most of the tenants have just stayed and had no problems. We had one tenant who kept having moisture problems in the unit actually next to this one we haven't shown. And they moved out. We got a dehumidifier, got rid of those problems. And I think they just had the temperature. They wanted the temperature literally at 80 degrees all summer, all winter long. And I think it was just too hot inside compared to the cold Colorado winters. And we think they had it really humid in there with different stuff going on. And the new tenants have had 0 problems whatsoever. So that was a pretty minor thing to have happen and pretty easy fix. But there's always going to be something going on with real estate. So this is what the property looked like today, because I was stopping by a different property in the area to look at as a potential purchase. And that property next door looks like it might be empty or not being used. It's kind of sort of looked like that for a while. When I first bought this property, it had kind of I think it was a small grocery store in there. I'm not sure, I never went in there, but I'm always on the lookout for vacant looking properties or commercial properties. So I may have to inquire with the owners on that one if I can. You also might remember we flipped this house like 8 years ago now, maybe longer. Flipped it, sold it to someone with an FHA loan. They never made a payment, let it go into foreclosure. Became a foreclosure, sold again, and then people who lived there since then have never moved. This property is a little farther away than some of my others and kind of the opposite direction of some of my others, so I don't check the laundry as much. And I've had, one of my assistants come over and check it once in a while too, and the last time they said it was almost overflowing. In fact, we had one time where they stopped working because they got too full, so whoops. But we'll figure out how many quarters fit in those absolutely full coin boxes in case anybody's curious. And here's the back of the property. Looks okay. The one thing we know is there's no dumpster. Like, where did our dumpster go? Because we pay for a dumpster. There should be a dumpster right here. There's a weird old Spider-Man doll on the telephone pole. But maybe they had just picked it up. But I feel like that kind of dumpster, it's a small dumpster. They would just dump it in their truck and put it right back down again. So we'll figure out what's going on there. A good reason why you should drive by your properties and check them out. This is my old change machine that I haven't used in a long time, and I forgot how frustrating it was to work with it. And I think it's not working even to a greater extent now than it was before. And my other good change machine, I think, is in the trunk of the Countach still. So I don't have that with me, but I'll make sure I have my good one when we count quarters tomorrow at the laundromats. Otherwise, this was pretty infuriating and took me a very long time because all my quarters would not fit in one bank envelope. I had to source that soap bucket from the trash can in the laundry room. But we'll go through this a little quicker so you don't have to deal with my frustration. But it took. So I had made some progress and still working on it. And I also realized it's so much easier to see it when the lights are off. So from those 2 coin boxes, and I had a few quarters jump out at me, we ended up having like 1,830 quarters, which is $450. So each of those coin boxes holds about $225 when they're totally full. Pretty crazy. So that's the property. That's the quarter collection. It's been a pretty decent property, pretty hassle-free since we got it fixed up and rented. And a lot of my properties have been like that too. The complex, which has had massive amounts of drama, especially when I first bought it, has been pretty calm since we fixed it up and had it rented. The Ocho, it's had some drama, maybe more drama than most of my properties, but it's been relatively calm since when I first bought it as well. So a lot of people see the stories of my properties. Hey, that snowplow was still there in the first video. That's interesting. Anyway, they see the stories of my evictions and cash for keys and all these issues and break-ins and tenants fighting each other, and they don't realize I bought properties at a very low price that were really good deals, and there's usually a reason for that, and the previous landlords didn't want to deal with the problems they have or created, what have you, and so we can come in, deal with those problems, fix up properties, and that's why we get good deals, that's why we create value, and that's why we have so many stories about what happens along the way too. So if I were to just buy this property now at full retail value with it stabilized and ready to go, I'd probably have very few stories and issues about it as opposed to how I bought it. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. We'll have more videos coming up on my rentals, flips, commercial properties. Of course, we'll have laundromat videos coming up tomorrow. We'll see